Welcome back to another episode of Fox Can Fix It. We're still working on the 73 Pontiac Ventura. We are in the middle of the intake and carb swap. I have the intake and carburetor on and everything hooked up as far as throttle linkage, transmission, fuel line, and we're on to radiator hoses. I don't know how old the hoses are on this car. The coolant is drained, so there is no time like the present to just swap them out. Also going to be doing the heater hoses because I don't know how old those are. And if any of those go bad, then coolant's just everywhere. And I've already thrown coolant all over the garage. So, nothing big. Let's get to it. Alright, so today we're going to be replacing this heater hose, which is a 3/4 inch heater hose. And the 5/8 hose comes out of the other side of the heater core and over to the back side of the manifold. Boop. And this is basically just a bleed valve. This is a high point in the system, so this is a good way to get air out of the system. They're plastic. Can they break? Yeah. Do they break often? I've never had one break, but let me know what you guys think on these. I'm a fan of them, but maybe you're not. Maybe you've had bad experiences with them. Let me know what you think about having a bleed valve like that in your coolant system. Other than that, at the bottom, here's lower radiator hose, water pump, short run over to the bottom of the radiator, and here's the upper hose. And it's not one of my pet peeves, but I don't like to leave these in place if I can help it. It's a universal hose. You see it in a lot of applications where people have swapped stuff in. Well, this is the original engine in the original car that it went with, so I should be able to find a hose. Should be able to. And I did, finally. But I understand now why they went with the universal hose when they did it last time. Here is the OE hose, and that was a pain in the butt to find. It's different than a Nova. It's not a small block Chevy. Trying to find a 350 Pontiac upper radiator hose, it's like I was asking for tickets to the Super Bowl. But I finally got one. Took a couple days, and it was still cheap. It was like 20 bucks. That's good. That's what I needed. Light in antifreeze. Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to save this hose because it's still fairly flexible and who knows what universal application I may have in the future. However, if you're not going to save your radiator hose when you're taking it off, like I'll show you on the bottom, instead of fighting with it and twisting it and trying to get it off, just take a utility knife and slice it from about 3 inches up all the way down to the end and just peel it apart. It's going to save you a lot of headache and a lot of stress of trying to get pliers in there and twist it or trying to break it loose. Just, if you're not going to reuse it, just cut it. All right. And also, if you're going to have a universal hose like this, save that for your kid's Halloween costume. Just throw some primer on that. Boom, elephant. I think we're going to work on this heater hose next so I can get it out of the way to get to the low radiator hose. Take your utility knife. Just slit it. Boom, look at that. Gone. Right off there. You don't have to fight it at all. Go ahead and save your hose clamps, but also replace them with new. These ones you're taking off, throw them in the drawer as backups, but put new clamps on. Get off of there. There we go. I know my hat's in the way, but I'm taking a clamp off. Nailed it. Slide that clamp down out of the way. Take your knife. Cut that. And boom, right off. Woo! All right. Woo! Okay. One little piece left. We'll have them all off. All right. I think we're going to start with the low radiator hose and just work our way backwards up towards the top of the engine. Let's see. These I need facing where I can get to them. So that one there and that one. There we go. Okay. Okay. That's all the way on. on there. Everything is cleared. Tighten this one back down. And you're not right at the end of the hose. You want to have maybe a 1/2 inch between the hose and the clamp. And you want to make sure you're actually over the high point in that fitting so that it's not going to come flying off there. Bottom one's on. Another reason to save clamps is because I didn't buy enough. So I'll be reusing these 2 clamps, apparently. Alright, well, note to self, buy more clamps next time. Now I can't cut these because I'm using this fitting, and it's plastic, and I don't want to cut the fitting. So this came off of here, so I need to make that about that length. This is one of my best investments. Makes cutting that way easier. Instead of trying to use side cutters or diagonal cutters or a knife, I've just found it makes life way easier to have that. Perfect. Oh, well. Yeah. That's poor planning on my part. I gotta have this loose so I can twist this fitting first, the way it needs to be fit. And then I can tighten everything. And I don't know how your OCD is, but I like to have them about in the same spot, on the same side. Now, I wonder why they're not both 5/8 or not both 3/4. Does anybody else ever wonder that? I don't know if it's like a thermal expansion issue or what. Since the heater core isn't one direction, it could go either way. I don't know why these are the way they are. Huh. If you do happen to know the answer to why one of these is 3/4 and one is 5/8, put it in the comments so me and the dozens of other people watching this will be that much smarter. I would also accept sarcastic answers that are not true. I always enjoy reading those. I enjoy making those up myself. Somewhere around that point right there. And this hose clamp is going to be on the same side as the little radiator hose clamp because, well, because of OCD, I guess. And this one actually has a bracket here that holds this hose. Make sure you're on this side of it, not on the bottom side going underneath it, because that's just not where it goes. There we go. Now the only thing left is that upper radiator hose, and then we'll be done. I'm not real sure if this upper hose is cut to fit, but we're going to find out. I guess since it could fit a couple different GM cars, I might have to lop some off of the end of it. We'll find out here in a second. There we go. It is up against the base of that neck. We're good there. There we go. All right, and this hose fits a couple different bodies of Pontiac, so it is a cut-to-fit hose as far as length goes. The end of that upper radiator hose should be right here. I'm going to have to cut maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches off. I'm going to start with 1.5 inches and see where we're at. I don't want it to touch the alternator here, but I also don't want to shove it way out here and maybe have it kink. So we'll cut 1.5 inches roughly off that first and see what happens. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way when you're doing this. You like to walk away and still be able to count to 10. All right, so if I put that there, yeah, perfect. That's about 1.5 inches off of it, and as you can see, that'll end up right about where we want it. No kinks, no stress on it. Perfect. You can take this tag off of it because it's going to be right where my clamp is. There we go. Ah, that's my finger. You ever pinch your finger in a worm drive clamp? I just did. Not the first time either. Be very, very careful. I'm clamping wabbits. Should be good enough. One of the last steps today is to add antifreeze. When I buy it, usually I buy concentrated because I'm usually draining a whole system. Concentrated is about $2 more than the 50/50, but really you're getting twice as much. So do what you want. If you're just going to top off and keep it in your car, maybe buy the 50/50. If you're going to do big flushes, buy the concentrated and then just add the water yourself. All right, that one's done. Let me get the water. Also, it's good to have straight water at the end of this just to rinse all the antifreeze off of things that you didn't want it on in the first place. All right, I've got water at the bleed valve back there on the heater hose. I've got water coming out the top of that. I think it's fair to say we've got enough in it. That's going to do it for today. Fresh hoses are on. Fresh antifreeze and water mixture is in. Next time I fire this up, I'll be able to go ahead and let it warm up, and I'll be able to set the timing, which I haven't been able to do yet with the new carburetor and intake because I didn't have antifreeze in it because I hadn't put hoses on it. So now I have hoses on it and I've got antifreeze in it. So next time I run it with the new carburetor and the new intake, I can do the timing. Got that? All right, well, that's what we'll probably do next time.